One sec. I'm listening.
Can hear us now. Hey, there it is. There we got sound. You know, welcome everyone.
There we go.
It's
Take 5.
Wednesday. Take 5. Welcome, Wayward Gamers, to the Emporium. We had some technical difficulties. OBS just decided to change and turn off our volumes. So, but we've got that fixed. It appears that everyone can hear us now. Thank you so much. I am Jay, your GM, also known as NeoFed3 on the socials. Welcome to Saltmarsh Legends and our casual campaign chat season 1 finale recap, where we dive into the questions of the last season and things that go, Jay, did you put that spoiler in episode 1? Why, yes, I did. You know, all that good stuff. But before we get into a lot more, let us introduce our wonderful, talented, and just fun players, because it's always been fun around. Carrie, how are you doing today?
I am wonderful. I am Carrie. I am here. I am pumped. This is great. The season finale was amazing. If you have not watched the VOD yet, you absolutely must. It was just wonderful and terrific and fun and amazing. You can also find me on Monday nights. I'm on Mini Terrain Domain, where we play Scribes and Scrolls, the Candlekeep Mysteries. You can find me on select Thursday nights, where I'm on another channel called Dice Tales Live. And obviously here at the Emporium, where I love to be with my dudes.
Yes.
With the three J's.
The 3 J's.
J cubed.
Thank you very much. And you know,
I appreciate that. Thank you.
And remind, when we get back, I just realized something, that a little spoiler I have to share with you based off of that information when we get back. Thank you, Carrie.
What information?
Oh
God.
yeah. Oh yeah.
I didn't say anything but my name.
No, you just
Jayford?
the light bulb just went off. I'm like, oh yes, I gotta share something. Anyways, Jeff, how are you?
I'm great. I'm Jeff. Here we are. Campaign chat. Season 1 has ended. Holy crap. When did we start this? Was it like
It
a full year ago? Not quite a year ago.
We have 19 episodes. We
Mhm.
missed a
What was that,
month
like-
or two. So I want to say we started in
October or November of last year?
Yeah,
Something like that?
yeah, it was October.
Well, hot
around
dog. Here we are at the end of August, and it was just great. And for those of you that don't know, I'm Jeff, and I play Aviro Starborn. He is our high elf wizard and bookworm, and now confidant to both these two fabulous other characters.
Yes. We can't do anything without the walking encyclopedia.
No.
You don't even know what you can't do without the walking encyclopedia.
Yeah, that's going to be an interesting change of.
Because you're going to be without the walking
dynamics.
encyclopedia for a while.
Yeah. Bryn's not going to have anybody to hit.
Oh,
Well,
you're short and
Eric.
wide, my friend.
he's
You're
he's
easy
just
target.
out of arm's reach.
You know, the
He'll
other-
just swing over his head.
yeah. But you know, it's going to be an interesting dynamic when there is actually all combat individuals.
Oh, yeah.
That's
Oh,
going to be
yeah.
an interesting dynamic too. Looking forward.
Yeah, which is to say we will do well at combat.
We'll see. Jim, how you doing?
I'm great. So I'm Jim Hawkmere1 on Twitter, and here I play Glassdock Steelcloak. Well, let's just admit it, he's a dwarven sorcerer. So
And a fine one at that.
I don't know about that, but
I think he's better than fine, Jim.
he
did
definitely
almost-
casts more combat spells than the magic user, the wizard does. So
Oh, and they came in handy, did they not, in the season
Jim-
finale?
Jim, he's so fine. If he was sandpaper, he'd be 4,000.
oh god,
Wow.
Ooh.
Jeff is absolutely coming in hot tonight.
Yep.
Jeff,
Yep.
everybody.
You
Yep.
know,
You're welcome.
we are gonna miss Jeff during his sabbatical. So for those of you who don't know, I'm sorry, pull this up real quick. For those that don't know, which you should, since you're listening to all of us all the time, Jeff is going on a quick educational sabbatical, and we'll be missing the rest of the year. So we're gonna be starting hopefully up season 2 in September, late September, and we are gonna have some guest players come in and join us for a little while. And then we're going to take our Christmas break and some time off in between. And then when we come back for the new year, Jeff will be returning. And by around that time,
Hopefully, because I don't technically know my schedule, my class schedule for next semester. I mean, they stick me with night classes again, then what am I going to do?
you know,
But
hopefully
trust.
that will. So then by that time, we'll wrap up a little of an arc of find a Vero, save the sheep,
Mhm.
save the dragon. You know,
Right.
that was shared last time. But so just an entertainment, we have guest players coming, and we have wonderful individuals that have said yes to join us for short run. One of those individuals is Robo Goblin, known also TRPIF on Twitch. We're going to add all that information, but his real name starts with a J.
yep,
Wow.
George.
Okay.
yep.
And then Bill Roper, one of our friend here at the Emporium, unfortunately has a scheduling conflict for most of the rest of this year. But we're still going to kind of figure that out. So in the meantime, I have asked another friend of ours of the channel to join us. And Joshua will be joining us as our fourth player.
Okay. No, it's fine. It's
Because I didn't realize I was getting all J's back in the group.
just as long as you're recognizing your bias, I think we're all happy about that. Good. It's cool.
Yeah.
That's fine.
Yeah, it's by just pure chance that it all happened.
So it's going to be J to the 5th power?
It's going to be
Yes.
J to
Yes.
the
J to the
power.
fifth.
And then
And
BC.
Bill and me.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's all good.
Wow.
Yeah, that was not planned. That just so happened, and I just realized it as you said, Carrie and the 3Js, and I went,
About
That was it. Gotcha.
that was the light bulb. Going, they're all J's.
Oh,
They're all I got J's back, So Jeff leaves, and I got 2 more J's coming in.
there you go.
So, anyways, we are excited. We had it has been a wonderful 19 episodes for season 1. And the reason, again, we wanted to have a spectacular season finale. We kind of led up to it because we knew that Jeff was going to be going on a sabbatical, and we wanted to end on definitely a note of significance and moving forward, because we knew that the group dynamics is going to slightly change. So I wanted to have a significant reason why Avero is gone too, and this gives a good reason why.
Yeah. Yep.
Which brings up a first question. How is everyone doing with this finale? How did it play? Was it enough of a surprise? And remember when I said long ago, JFU? Was that in your soul when it happened?
Yeah. As soon as we cut the stream, it was on my lips. It was it was awesome and shocking and stunning, and I love a good twist. And that was not just one but many. So awesome.
Yeah.
Agreed. Yeah, 100%. But maybe it's because I know what's coming. But certainly the way that it played out was unknown to me. Having you and I discussed plans for what's going to be going on, I had an idea of what's, like I said, going to happen. But because we hadn't discussed, because I'm still a player, we hadn't discussed the details. It was still very fun to see, and I'm super happy the way that it all turned out. It's awesome. It's awesome.
And like I said, we had several discussions ahead of time looking at, okay, what are we going to do with Vero? And we were like, oh, he's going to go to the library in town to have, and I couldn't spoil the time travel element that happened. So that was one of those, like, trying to keep that definitely spoiler under wraps, but having a Vero.
You did very good.
But there was enough that we were able to settle that, okay, we were able to have a good conversation, and I think we both were at a good point of, like, this is the plan. And the fact that it's Find a Vero is very telling of, like, how season 2 is going to start. So, because, the group is now in the town of Saltmarsh, 50 years or so after its creation, about 100 years in the past to what they know. Lots of things can happen. Lots of things are different. Lots of things are still growing. And yeah, there's a lot to unpack on all this. So
yeah, this is going to be a real short season if we just go to the library and we find a Vero in the library.
There's no library.
Oh, hey guys. Oh, there's no library
There's
yet?
no library. There's barely a town.
Because guess what I said Avero does as soon as he gets in the past? And he's like, there's no library. I'm like, what do you mean there's no library?
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. And more than half of the buildings from the city are not even built yet.
Don't even exist.
Don't exist. Yeah. So there's a lot to unpack. And what's going to be entertaining, too, is how you react to individuals you already know and potentially meeting.
Like Radek?
Like Radek.
Oh, God. Yeah.
There's a lot. There's quite a few people you've interacted with that are long-lived and potentially here.
Yeah. Great.
Wow.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's
should
exciting.
we put a little list up for everyone?
No, that's all right. We'll figure it out as we're going.
Radek and who's the dude that owns the Wicked Goat? Is the Wicked Goat there?
The Wicked Goat has been around for 150
That's
years.
why I thought so. So that's
But
there.
The owner has changed multiple times.
Okay.
Oh, Gary from Fort Nerd has asked our first question.
Yay! Viewer question.
Viewer question. What was each of your favorite moments of the season? Excellent question, Gary. Thank you so much. And we're going to start with Jim. What is one of the favorite moments of the season for you? And
flat out, it has to be the realization that Aviro was a total pacifist and had no combat spells. Because it was such a raw reveal. I mean, because both Carrie and I were like, what the hell do you mean you've got, like I'm yelling, pew pew, you do something that we, and he's like, I don't do that. And hiding behind the invisible, the illusionary wall he created, and just the whole bit. That was just fantastic. And of course that spawned the whole walking with a purpose. So
yes.
Oh yeah. Jeff, how about you? What was
Man, that is a really hard question. Like, there are so many great moments, I think, in this campaign. Every single time Bryn gets puppy dog eyes for Rocky, every single time, and it just is so great. Like, it's such an endearing moment. And so I think in cartoons, and so as we play this, I imagine all this is a cartoon, and the big old Bambi eyes every single time Rocky is on just kills me. Oh, also Glassdock with his arms up at Madame Maxime or whatever her Celeste, the lady at the store.
Curio shop,
the curio shop. Yeah, whatever her name. Him up here only can see this tall, and like his feet are like dangling as he is
the imagining of that art
as he is flirting with her and getting a date. Little legs, like, it just is so funny. So those are the moments that I love. Those are the moments that I love.
Nice. Carrie, how about you?
I was also gonna say that, like, our first battle together in the, was it in the mine where the walking with a purpose happened?
That was like episode
2,
3.
And kind of from a behind the scenes standpoint, we really didn't know each other that well yet.
No.
And so I think that really broke the ice better than anything else could have, like an inter party conflict for sure. But yeah, I mean, these guys are bringing up some great moments. I also kind of like the heavier stuff. I loved Bryn's conversation with Glassdock about morality. I love when Aviro was talking to Bryn about life and her past and stuff. And it's a really good dynamic. And I think I've been very lucky. I've had that a lot, but I think it's hard. It must be hard, Jay, to pull together a group of people that works this well together, if I can give us some credit. I think we do.
Oh, you all work beautifully. And we've said this multiple times. The one thing I feel like I do very well as a GM, and I've been learning a long time, and I've been trying to be, and I want to say within the last 5 years, I've really tried to be the best I can as a GM. One of the things that I find that I do very, very well is bring people together. And I think this was such a magic moment, because I mean I've had my successes and failures bringing people together, but so it's a skill that I've learned to kind of adapt for outside because of what I used to do in the real world, so to speak. And then before retiring, I was really good at knowing people and watching people and anticipating what people think and who they are as part of my job. And because I was 20 years security and surveillance. So that's what I did for a living. So I knew people and I could tell people. So when I was putting this together, I've kind of adapted it a little bit, but it was more or less, you know what? I just saw the spark in everyone and I was like, And it was that episode 0, session 0, when we had that first dialogue. And I was like, magic. This is a great group. Perfect. Let's go. And
you had a real long-term vision for this, Jay. It's
Oh yeah. And I mean, part of me there is the long-term vision of where I want a campaign to go. And that's kind of where that's kind of like why I like GMing part. Because like I said, I get to do a lot more. And just that planning and organization. But again, I'm only as good as my players. So
Mhm.
I'm a firm believer in that. So I'm just very happy.
Speaking
also-
of good, go ahead. You
No,
first.
you.
No, I was gonna
Okay.
say at some point this evening. Speaking of good players, we got to see the final scoreboard for the Nat 1 versus
Yes,
Nat
that's-
20
yeah.
Yes,
spreadsheet.
Well,
that's there.
we already know who won that one. So
We don't.
We don't.
We
I certainly don't.
I have not kept track. I knew it at one point, but that was a long time ago.
It's changed slightly. Yeah,
I was
go
going to
ahead.
say another one of my favorite moments. I think is when we were running away from the lizard folks at the outpost, right before we went to Croc God.
when we jumped in the boat.
Yeah, when we jumped on the raft and
Yeah.
and jetted out of there. And I like it because in a lot of other games that could have very easily been let's slaughter every single lizard person here. And I
Yep.
like the fact that as a group we said let's just boogie.
No.
And it was an exciting scene and it was very fun, and there was the narrative of it was a really great dramatic moment in our story.
Mhm.
And I think is really the first time that everyone worked together.
Yeah.
And the team really worked as the team.
Yeah.
And everyone kind of, although there wasn't fighting, everyone figured out their role within kind of the group dynamic kind of in that encounter, I thought.
Oh yeah.
For
yeah,
sure.
it was good.
Yeah.
I want to say the two favorite moments that I had
Oh yeah.
were in the first episode when the black dragon was flying around and both Carrie and Jim at a given time literally looked at me and go, Jay, you realize we are only first
We're level one.
What are you doing? And I just kind of I just had a smile on my face going,
You said this was a campaign, not a one shot.
yeah, and I'm just sitting back. You have no clue what I'm setting the mood, and it was just that tense pucker factor, and
Right.
then the reveal at like episode 8 or it was like 6 or 7 when the reveal of like who that black dragon was or potentially was, and it was one of those like the realization of all the dots, and you went,
Mhm.
okay.
Mhm.
And
Mhm.
that's Jay's story, how Jay tells the story.
Mhm. That first scene with the dragon was also a great dramatic moment because we rolled so many ones that it really set the tone for the
God.
whole thing.
That was the
Horses get away.
the whole
Bryn and
opening.
Bryn and Glassdog are off the wagon. Aviro's trying to climb over to get to the.
I thought we were gonna die. I
Yeah,
thought
that
like
was-
this is gonna be short. Like we're gonna have to, if this is meant to be like a long play, we're gonna have to make new characters. Like this was all a ruse to be like, I've had GMs before kill the entire party to like as like a cold open to like set up that this world is dangerous and
Oh,
like
wow.
and then like
Yeah.
you know, and it's it's terrible.
Ooh.
But it's like I thought you were gonna pull that, and I'm like, I wrote so much backstory.
I just want to touch on what Jay was saying about bringing players together and stuff. And I mean, for the most part, we were complete unknowns to each other. I've seen Carrie in some of the online stuff that she's done on MTD, so I was familiar with her kind of play style, at least for a barbarian, specifically in the Candlekeep Mysteries. And Jeff was, the way, Jay is, I got this buddy of mine, Jeff, that I've GM'd in campaigns and stuff. And I was like, oh, okay. Yeah. I mean, if, Jay says he's a good player, it must fit in, and I've been lucky enough to play online with Jay as my GM in a couple of Star Wars things. So I was, I'm totally optimistic going into this and stuff. It's, and then that first session where we actually, even beyond the session 0, when we were first actually playing our characters and stuff, Jay and I talked afterwards and stuff. And I said, dude, you have put together, this is going to be fantastic. This is just the perfect group with just 3 players, the dynamic was just right there. So, yeah.
I think with fewer players, and guys, tell me if you all agree, I think with fewer players, it's harder you really have to be specific with the dynamics between players. Because like if there's 5 or 6, you can kind of like players can hide behind each other a little bit more. But if there's 3, you've really got to ping pong off of each other very well.
Yeah.
I think so. This is
Yeah.
I would say
Awesome.
it in conjunction with that, Carrie,
Mhm.
it also allows us as players to the time to explore deeply
yes.
all of that as well, because there aren't others. There's just physically no one else there.
You're
So
you're
we
in the
get the
spotlight all the
opportunity-
time.
So we get the opportunity and more time where normally there would be a lot more going on,
Right.
but we get more time to explore.
Not that one of those is better than the other,
Correct,
but it's
correct,
just different.
correct.
You're right.
It's just different, right?
Definitely on the different side.
And I think that actually helped us in the congealing so quickly, and to really what I think is one of the defining elements of this game is, I think, the level of storytelling that we are creating together. Personally, I think is really good.
Yeah,
I think it's really good. I really like what we're doing.
Yeah, and and speaking as a GM, on my trips when I go up north and I'm with the Talon and Claw crew, and I GM for them, so that's 8 or 9 players, and they're used to playing together as a group. So they even when they're playing different characters, they know each other, like how each other plays off. So I'm still learning that as the GM. It's like I've now discovered, okay, these are the characters who are making decisions. These are the are the players. I mean,
Sure.
these are the leaders. These are the followers. This is the one who's going to try to screw something up on purpose just for the laughs.
This is the one who never follows plot hooks. Gary.
Exactly.
I'm just kidding.
Exactly.
Sorry.
Yeah. So the last session that I DM'd up there, when they got thrown through a portal, and they actually got thrown into my old 1984 homebrew world from first edition. So now everything is switched to my advantage, because there's special rules for this world and things like that they don't know. So it's going to be interesting these next few sessions while they're learning things. So
nice.
Very cool.
Yeah.
Very cool.
The other thing I want to share, like the favorite moment, is a cantrip ripping up. That was like a defining GM moment in my GMing career.
That is all Jim. That was all Jim. That was 100% all Jim.
Well done.
Beautiful, just like a cantrip, and because as I was leading up to that episode of like, we're gonna leave, and I'm like, because I've been rolling on a 40-point chart of what Rocky does to the room.
Oh yeah.
And it like all this other stuff.
You're going to leave? Are you going to do anything to the room?
Yes.
No?
And I've got the pages, and I'm sitting there going, oh, the owner's gonna find out. This is gonna bring a whole, and then there's gonna be problems when they get back. And then all of a sudden it was
prestidigitation.
No,
whatever it was.
Mending.
And I went,
oh yeah, that was what.
Mending. And it was one of those things, like it was just an off the cuff moment, which I'm playing a spellcaster, but trying to play him with the mentality of a fighter. So I don't think necessarily, I was trying not to think along those lines, but Jeff is, and this is hats off to Jeff, because he always makes a point of when something happens, he prestidigitation to clean this up. Oh, something gets torn, mending, or it's like he throws those two spells out. So, and that's part of the reason why I thought of it. I was like, oh God, we got all this broken shit we got to fix. Oh, Jeff knows mending. Hey, Jay, fix the cast mending before we leave, right?
Oh, there was such a plot hook that I had, and that was going to end up when you came back. And it was just like, and you could see it on my face, that moment of my gears just went, and then all of a sudden went, because it was just like, this is too perfect. It was just beautiful. I loved it.
Bear loves his mending.
Bill has a question in chat, but I want to add one more. Our first guest player. When
Avril.
Avril was.
Oh yes.
That was I've been trying to get her in a game for years. and her energy, I just thought would just be perfect for this
It
group.
was.
And it was just the way everyone worked together was just so.
I was in awe of her play style. Like when she first jumped in and was talking about like the smells and how she smells like brownies. And I was just like, oh my God. Like Jay should have told us all to really bring our A game. Like we had to keep up. It was great.
Oh, she just dominated everything the second she came in. It was just amazing. I mean,
it was great.
I don't think I've ever watched a stream with a guest player that just all of a sudden came in and took over like that.
But it wasn't
in a good way. In a good way. In a good way.
No. Yeah,
in a good way.
But it was a play off of each other too, because she was.
Yes.
It was fully engaged. It was a fully engaged process. So
100%.
Like I applaud 100%. A huge fan of Gabriel now.
Yeah.
Huge fan. She's fabulous.
So and the beauty is I was talking to her and I'm like, I was figuring out for season 2, and I kept on saying, yeah, I can't have you in for season 2. I don't know how I'm going to get you there. Season 3, possibly most likely for season 3, if things happen.
Yeah.
If there's things that happen, then there's so yeah, that's we're gonna welcome.
We could
back.
have the person Avril back. She could just play another character.
Oh yeah, definitely. Well, here, so a question. Our wonderful friend Bill asked a question. The moment, so he wanted to share that the moment of one of his favorites was that the moment when after the time jump forward, Bryn met the shop boy, but he was over 50 years old. And that realization of like, you finally realized who he was at, like, he was you realized he was the shop boy, but he was like in 50 years, but there's so many other things there that were just unknown.
There's something going on. There was, Yep. There was recognition there.
Yeah. And
it's noted.
Now, we're not going to spoil it, Carrie, but after I dropped the bomb in you in chat.
Oh my God.
Did it finally, what I was saying, make a lot more?
Yeah. I can't say much more. Yeah. That's why I spent like the last 5 minutes of that campaign just like, or that episode just stunned, because my brain was just going and I was just like, oh my God, like so much like clicked.
And then we talked afterwards since then, and we've season 2 and season 3 long processes, and I am looking forward to some very good RP sessions potential. Yes.
Gonna be something else.
So how's my GMing style now?
Amazing. So like there's just so many moving parts, dude. It's a masterclass, really.
And so little spoiler on this one. As I said at the beginning of the campaign, however you wanted to go, it's kind of a sandbox. I was going to give you a little bit of breadcrumbs or just kind of throwing you where and kind of introducing some stuff. But I had the season finale in mind already, but I didn't have it complete. I had like the main idea of what was going to happen and the fact that you were going to go back in time. I that's kind of what I was hoping for. So it was like where you guys want to go, you were eventually going to kind of go to this moment. And then however the moment turned out, is you could have killed the alchemist. And then once you killed the alchemist, the box malfunctioned potentially. So there was there was some stuff there that could have happened, or here's the other thing, it didn't work and you were still running, but then all of a sudden, let's see, Avero just disappears in front of your eyes and the box malfunctions as you have it in your possession.
And nothing. Oh, okay.
So because you would have collected all, you would have been in your possession, and then a week later, suddenly Avero disappears in front of your eyes after something.
Oh.
at breakfast.
Yeah, and then just all of you too. So I mean, there was contingencies of trying to figure out where and how, but again, it wasn't railroad or pigeonholed. It was like an open, like where there's lots of different moving parts in here that it could have been, but somehow because I want the season 2 to be here because I find that this is going to set up a lot of stuff for later on, and there's some stuff here that's really I really want to see how the characters interact, knowing what they know potentially or what they think they know.
Spoiler alert, the first thing Bryn and Glassdock are probably going to do is find somewhere to get a drink.
Yep.
And decompress.
Yep.
And figure this out, where the heck we are, what's going on, where's Aviro, where's
Right.
Rocky, what did we just see? Oh
Where
my
do we
God.
start? You know, the whole.
And where else would you begin a D&D campaign but a tavern?
But the tavern.
But the tavern.
Perfect.
Season 2 tavern. Oh yeah.
Perfect.
I love it.
What was there anything in the season finale, or is there anything that you just had questions on that didn't make sense through the season, or there were things where like, okay, why was this in there, and then the realization late at the season finale was like, oh, okay.
I have a question.
Yes.
And you can just say yes or no. The whole subplot with the nobleman and the illegitimate child and the woman and the ranger and all of that, was that tied in any more than we saw, or was that just truly like a side quest?
It was a side quest.
Solid. Okay. That's all I wanted.
Yeah, it was just a nice little side quest to add into, because the fact
Save
that
the cat moment.
Yeah, because it was one of those things where you did a job for the lizard ambassadors, you know, the ambassadors or the embassy. And this guy is actually written in that he hates the lizard folk and he wants them out, and he wants to get into it. And the fact that he's got someone that's there, he's looking for, hey, I got some, you know, they're tearing up my stuff, but realistically it's, you know, a scorned lover.
Okay, now so here's I'm gonna flip the question onto Jay.
Yes.
Did you expect us to go the route that we did to try to blackmail him out of the town?
No, I did not.
See.
And I liked it so much that it was like, oh, okay, that's a route. But then I looked at and I put myself into him as a politician, because he's like nobleman politician, but he's so shady that he tries, but he's not. He's connected a little bit, but he's such in debt, but he's also got some money. But it's one of those things where he's not. He wouldn't have a problem going to the Assassin's Guild, paying an assassin to go do what he wanted to get rid of the evidence, which might eventually come back to bite him in the butt for. But he's not on, you know, and he's probably got some of the connections to be able to do that, because he'll just dump a whole bunch of money at him. But again, it was one of those situations where it was like, oh, okay, yeah, what does a politician do that, you know, doesn't want the affair to be acknowledged? Okay, send the wife away, you know, make it look like he's leaving, and then, you know, leave.
Because the reason why I bring that up is, and now it goes back to the whole Glassdock and Bryn conversation after the library situation, and Bryn worrying about how she thinks that we always choose the violent route first. And I think in reality, as a group, and it may simply be because of Aviro and his pacifism has rubbed off on the other two, where we would normally shoot first and ask questions later. I think partially out of respect for Aviro, we try to find a more passive solution first. We may not be.
You do actually like him, don't you?
Well, of course we do. We're not going to admit it, but yeah. But I think subconsciously or consciously, we actually try a more passive route first. I mean, we'll try to strong arm somebody, I mean,
Mhm.
Bryn went and beat the shit out of the guy after the fact, but didn't kill him.
Can't help herself. Like that's
But
yeah.
now,
Yeah.
conversely, Glassstock had no problem with killing him. My problem was, how the hell do I get in there? I'm not sneaky. But the dragon has an invisibility ring and he can get in there real easy. And so that was that was going to be my play on it, was just have Rocky take care of him and use Bryn as, theoretically as the bait, like this guy wants to hurt mommy
So
kind of thing.
when on that note, when you realize that later in the next day, that the news of the nobleman,
Right.
what
It,
you're pretty sure you're pretty sure who did it, right?
oh yeah. I mean, Glassstock was, at least, because that was Glassstock's plan.
Was Bryn? Did Bryn kind of think about who it was?
Bryn would probably panic thinking she did it by accident. At first, like unless there were details, were there details in the
There were
news?
details that there was melting.
Then she would quickly figure out that it wasn't her. And also panic because then it looks like Rocky did it, and that's putting him in danger. So
yeah.
Avira would be completely shocked and have had no idea that it happened.
Exactly.
yeah, and that's the way it can stay.
And come running up with the paper. Did you see what happened?
And I think
that's fortunate.
This all goes back to a question we got the first time we did this, where it was everybody's relationship with Rocky, and Bryn's mommy. Aviro looks at him as not a science experiment, but it's
subject.
It's a learning experience,
learning opportunity.
Right. To Glassstock, he's a tool, a very dangerous tool that we have to be right. And
obviously,
and he's going to be extremely wary of that,
So the spoiler, because I find it, this is one of those things where the audience also would have fun. No, spoiler is Rocky did finish off the nobleman because he saw mommy up the nobleman.
Right.
And he got angry because obviously mommy, Bryn, was angry enough, and considering what she said, Rocky heard, he wasn't going to let, and then he probably heard what the guy said afterwards, after Bryn left, and went, yeah, that's not going to happen. But here's the kicker. Glassstock told Rocky to go find Bryn.
Right.
This is Glassstock's fault. No, I'm just kidding.
Rocky was captured leaving the nobleman's place.
Look, we all know this was all plot armor shit, so he was going to get caught one way or the other.
Wasn't.
No,
he wasn't.
Don't try to deflect this, Jay.
I don't have any problem if Jay wanted it to be that way with plot armor.
Yeah,
he's got an idea.
Honestly, the fight against the alchemist at the end, so like the whole thing with the projection and stuff like that, I as Jim the GM would do some of the exact same things, because especially with a character like that you want him to be a long-term villain, you have to give him escape routes and multiple things. So, was I surprised? No. I mean, Glassstock would have been surprised, but me as a player, no, it's
Well, there has to be some structure, otherwise it's just ludicrous.
Well, it's shades of what happened in a campaign I was running, where we actually had to kick a player out because he was disruptive at the table. So I took his character and made him the number one for the big bad guy, because he knew the party.
Okay.
And in doing that, it changed once the party realized, the rest of the guys realized what this character was doing now, it changed their whole focus to trying to take him out. And in the turn, it almost ended up biting them in the ass, because it was allowing the big bad guy to accomplish more of what he needed to do because they weren't worrying about him. And they didn't realize that until it was too late. So I've pulled the same shit in the past.
Jay,
so.
I have a question.
Yes.
Speaking of shit. No, so my question is, so then this was obviously like for the audience and we knew after that session, but would we have known about the nobleman dying before we went and the whole stuff happened with Aviro? Like, would we know that?
Yes.
Is that in our noodles?
That is in your noodles because the next morning.
The next morning.
Because
Here in 50 seconds.
I
had a window open up all of a sudden on my.
Okay.
I'm trying to think because no, that was all the same evening. So that was all the same evening that happened. I would say that
I only ask because Bryn would probably put it together if Rocky didn't like come back and that it was him that killed the nobleman and that you know what I mean? Like she's got a brain for that kind of stuff.
Because you went back to the Wicker Goat on the way back, I would almost say that you would have passed the apartment again, and there was a whole bunch of scenes. Yeah, there was the militia was there, town guards, people were like, "Oh, a nobleman died," and actually, someone coming in,
God,
someone coming running in as you were leaving, someone said another nobleman was killed, and they're thinking that there's the serial killer is back.
Ooh.
So that's part of where where another plot. There was a serial killer. Now the serial killer is back, and this is.
I just want to know whether to be pissed at Jim or not. That's my main question. I want to craft my piss offedness at Glassstock.
I'll leave that to you.
Great.
So.
Perfect. Can do.
Yeah, there was like I said, there's a lot of stuff that, like I said, do you remember, or if you've gone back, do you remember the first time you saw the alchemist in episode 1? And he was tinkering with a box.
Oh, I didn't remember that.
He was tinkering with a box in the bar, sitting by himself.
Yeah.
I only remember because I watched through all the VODs to refresh myself.
Wow. Extra credit for Jeff.
But then,
while playing guitar, it's really easy to watch.
But then you realize that later on, Bryn, when you had the encounter before going to the library, he was different. He was older, and he was more sharply dressed. And the wizard that was with him was like unusually clean, but had the same name as someone from an older time. Remember that? So So that was the hint that they've been going back and forth multiple times.
Oh, goodness.
So, and for those spoilers, then this is a spoiler for everyone else that doesn't know. In the mini terrain game of the Legends of Saltmarsh, which I was running on Tuesdays for a short period of time, in episode 1 there, they arrived in Saltmarsh, in the village of Saltmarsh, 20 years, 30 years after it was established. The characters came in, and the first job they had was to deliver goods to a manor for an alchemist who just built a house outside of town.
So it's their fault.
So the alchemist was then, and he's been he built his house of this fine because he was getting back and forth and at the wizard, and the wizard came in, and the wizard was the big bad for that group at Mini Terrain Domain.
Wow.
Dude.
And they were working off of each other of sending at different times. So it was like the wizard would tell the alchemist, hey, you need to do this. And eventually the alchemist would get, and go back and meet the wizard and go, you need to send this. So there's this time loop going back and forth. And they've been going, and that's where their wealth would come from. Why the manor itself is old Saltmarsh, because it's been around for a while. So, And
if you could go back and forth in time, you could just put however much money on the Lions in the Super Bowl and be rich.
Right.
Yep.
Oh, those Man,
And
that's impressive.
And so he's been figuring out, but it's limited. So you can't go back and forth. There's special conditions. And he created the box to make those special conditions. So, but yeah.
Incredible.
And the box you have Glassdock and Bryn, but it is destroyed.
Yeah.
It is burnt out and destroyed. So.
Oh man.
But,
I want to know the frickin' spreadsheet. Read us the spreadsheet.
All right, the spreadsheet.
Jay.
All right.
I need numbers. I need something concrete.
All right, here we go.
School's starting soon. I gotta get my juice.
I gotta get my math brain on. Let's go.
So, for season 1, for the number of natural runs rolled total and the natural 20s rolled, I'm going to go down the list. Currently, Bryn, for natural ones, you have 14. Avero has 6.
Respectable.
Glassdock has 8.
I win.
And Jay has 21.
Jay wins.
Jay wins.
Jay's playing multiple people though, so
I am playing multiple people, so it kind of... Now,
Yeah.
when it comes to natural 20s, Bryn has 13. Avero has 10.
Ooh.
Glassdock has 6. Rocky has 1. And Jay 10.
I win.
Yes, you do. Woohoo!
Yay! Maybe I just roll more. Do I roll more than anybody?
I don't think so.
I don't think so.
Not-
Statistically, it should be even.
It
But-
is, you know what though, for you, it is pretty even though, because you were what, 13 and 14?
Mhm.
Yeah.
Well,
Oh,
You know,
there you
so
go.
like,
I was 6 and 8, so that's pretty close.
There you go.
21
Oh, okay.
and 10. Now that opens because I have multiple things that I'm rolling. So of
Right.
course there's more chances. But
Hmm.
roll 20 or D&D roll 20 is just not happy with me. I
Yeah.
am I have to say roll 20 numbers just
roll
are
20 is not happy with anybody.
Oh.
I don't trust digital dice
Mhm.
ever. Like I have physical dice at my desk. I only use physical dice ever.
So I might
Yes.
I might go back. For me, like I said, it's a little bit easier, but again, it's one of those things where I'm like, okay. So the question I have, when you first met Rocky, were you expecting me to give you the Wormling babysitting edition?
No.
Do you,
Like-
how much did that change everything?
I think it gave Bryn a chance to be vulnerable.
Mhm.
I mean, for me,
Yeah.
it gave me a lot to work with. It made my character more round.
Yeah.
I did not think you were going to give him to us like as an animal companion. Like it's other animals maybe, but like a dragon, that's pretty
awesome.
Cool.
Yeah,
That's pretty awesome.
The last thing you ever expect as a first or second level character is to all of a sudden here's a full-size dragon to start.
to
It's
start. a
Don't
Pokemon.
destroy the world.
yeah. Oh, by the way, spoiler.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Oh God. Whatever you do, don't let him get big and angry.
Yeah.
And you don't know why. You don't know
Yeah,
why,
he was-
because there's multiple reasons that he could be doing that.
Yeah.
He misses mommy.
That was
Someone-
my
Man.
first guess, but after the conversation I had with Jay the other day, it might not just be that.
So, there's multiple things. There could be influence of the alchemist. There could be he's on his own. Potentially. Abandonment issues. Someone killed mommy, daddy, and uncle.
And there could be events that we just have no possible way of knowing because they have not happened in our experience. Like it could be literally anything.
It could be literally anything. And that is why it's so open booked right now.
Yeah,
And I'm just
yeah.
like, yep, however it goes.
Which gives you a fun blank sketchbook to kind of fill in fun things as they develop through organic discovery.
Oh yeah. There's
Yeah.
definitely there's some things that I'm looking forward to putting together in season 2 and 3 and talking out and just kind of figuring out like, okay, where are some of the plot points? Where are some of the open, if you do this, I'm going to do this. If you potentially do this, introducing certain things and looking forward to the RP looking forward to what is the characters gonna do when certain things happen, and in all honesty, I haven't figured it out yet, but David Rocky, how are you gonna save Rocky? What are the elements of trying to save him? Down.
Oh
Which-
my God.
which-
We talked about this.
let's be honest. Glassstock wouldn't have a problem doing it. if he
Oh,
needed
don't
to.
old yeller us, Jay. Don't old yeller us.
Bryn
I
would
am
insist
holding the
upon it.
old Yeller above you as a possibility.
Oh, don't
That's
do
fine.
that, man.
That's fair. I remember a long time ago, before we really knew each other that well, I said something to the effect of, "Oh God, old Yeller. And I remember Jay checked in with me after the game going, "Is this okay? Like, are you okay?"
Oh.
It's just like that. Thank you. Yes, totally fine.
I will straight up. There is a potential for an old Yeller situation here, depending on
Yeah.
where the story goes, and
Yeah.
I'm open to it. So
Yeah.
we'll all see.
It sounds so skeezy, Jay. I'm just open to it. Whatever happens,
Whatever happens, happens. Make secret notes.
Plot. I have to say the plot.
It's going to be
armor is
because of
done.
you guys.
Jay, don't feel bad. No, seriously, don't feel bad about the plot armor.
No.
I do think that having set points that you need to hit to tell this story, I think, is awesome.
And like I said, with you, I was actually hoping that we would be in season 1 much longer, and that the season finale probably wouldn't have hit for another few months. But because of
Sorry about that.
No. But because of circumstances, I was able to weave in a little bit, quicker things and add some more stuff into it. And I'm completely fine with it. And moving forward with season 2 and 3, it's open now. So it's like
Awesome.
I have no the plot armor hooks of hitting the certain points. Nope, those. The only thing is the question that will be is go back to the future. If there's something that needs you to go back to the future, would you, or would you stay in the timeline that you're at? And that's going to be one of those questions later on, that potential, and that's why the statues were always fluctuating. And that was to demonstrate that time is not set. So,
Right.
especially with the human and the gnome and back and forth, you don't know, things can change. And that might not be, if you do decide to go back to the future, that might not be the route. There might be a completely different route, which, if that's the case, that's fine. It changes certain histories when you get back. Not everything, but certain histories. And then you have to deal with the change. And
That's our Back to the Future picture. It's
Yeah.
our Back to the Future.
Right? Oh God, Doc. Amazing.
What other questions and or thoughts, comments, things of that nature about the season so far, or character development, or where do you want to see your characters go in season 2?
Ooh, I think we should go around the horn, and Jim should go first.
Okay. Jim has been nominated to go first. Thank you very much.
Yeah. Wow. Okay. So season 2, where do I want to see Glassstock go? I mean, he's already starting to accept his sorcerer background. I mean, and that's obvious because in that last big fight, he didn't swing his axe once. Everything was spells.
And that was so, it was so unique to see him as a war mage in a way, because he was like using tactics, using magic, and freaking owning the battlefield.
Knocking the cleric off the cliff.
Oh, that was, oh my God. I really quickly
Beautiful,
nominate
sir.
that one for the MVP play. It's that or the mending on the room. That's another nominee for
Jim's got
MVP
two.
moment of the season.
Hey,
That
we should
is-
let's keep track. MVP nominees of the season.
we should.
We should. So Jim's got
Let's
2.
make a list. Jay, make a list.
Make a list. By the end of this, someone's going to get MVP of the season.
It's like the Oscars when they're like, the nominees are.
No, I mean, so he's
Jim's got 2.
yeah, he's accepting it. He doesn't necessarily like it,
Mm.
but
Does he not like it because he was brought up to not be accepting of that, or does
Yes.
he not like just, or like, is
No,
that just rooted in him?
I mean, it's rooted in him because of his upbringing,
Mhm.
but because he considers his friend's safety such a priority
Mhm.
that he doesn't think twice about using it if the situation calls for it.
Mhm.
You know, it's, you know, if it was just him, he probably wouldn't be using it.
Right.
But, you know, it's like at the start of the fight, you know,
It's his mates.
Vero's beat up and you know, you don't know what kind of condition he's in. I mean, I was actually like I was trying to think a couple of steps ahead, and I was actually prepping to cast Cure Wounds on a Vero if it was necessary.
Mhm.
You know, for you guys, I haven't had a chance to use it yet, but you know, Cure Wounds is a touch spell,
Mm-hmm.
but you know, one
Right.
of my sorcerers, whatever the little abilities that I get, I can cast touch spells up to 30 feet.
Cool.
So,
That's neat.
and I got that specifically after it was revealed, you know, what kind of combatant Aviro was. I'm like, I'm going to
A
have to,
safe one.
One that's gonna live.
I'm gonna have to, you know, it's like it's not like if there's a fight going on, there's a good chance that Glassstock and Bryn are going to be within 5 or 10 feet of each other, and you know, in those type of situations, because Glassstock's got armor and a shield now, he would take an opportunity attack to move closer to Bryn to cast a Cure Wounds on her. But a Vero is going to be back somewhere where I can't see him or get to him easily because I only can move 25 feet. So, you know,
If he's within 55 feet, you can cast spells on him eventually. So
yeah, eventually, yeah. Now that I
hashtag
have
math. I'm in the mode.
Yeah, now that I have Misty Step, right? But yeah, so then I'd have to burn 2 spells just to cast Cure Wounds on him. But
Yes.
that was, you know, I guess that's the thing is like the next time we level, I have a choice. You know, it's like it's real easy to say, oh, I'm going to take another level in fighter because then I get action surge, which gives me another attack option and stuff.
Mhm.
But if I take another level in sorcerer, I get a 3rd level spell. So
Yeah.
you know, yeah, you know, plus, you know, I take fighter, I get a D10. Take sorcerer, I get a D6 for hit points. So
Decisions.
yeah.
Before we move on, can I ask Jim a real quick question about why is it purely because it's an interesting character choice that you chose not an Eldritch Knight but a dwarf who's a sorcerer?
It's you know, I think I've said this before, maybe not publicly and maybe just to the group, but so Glassstock is a joke character that I made as part of a situation. It was like, you know, a dwarf gets to start knowing wearing medium armor and using weapons and stuff. It's like, what if I made a caster that was running around wearing, you know, splint mail and carrying a battle axe? He's only got a D6 worth of hit points, but you know, he's trying to be a melee. So, you know, he's kind of a, you know, joke character. So I told Jay the idea and Jay just looked at me and he goes, I love it. Do it. And so
Awesome.
Nice.
You know,
and that was, and not knowing a Vero's character too. That's the beauty of it.
Yeah. Yeah. So, I mean, when you think about our number one, you know, we're only 3 characters. So right away, we're not an optimum party because there's some role that we're not going to have filled.
Right.
It's the Golden Girls rule, man. There's only 3 of us. Yeah.
Right. So, you know, we're without. So Bryn is technically our frontline melee character, but she's not. But she's really not a tank.
Oh.
You know, I mean, you know, she does have the highest average as far as hit dice goes because all of hers have been D8s. But she only wears leather armor. You know, so that's, you know, so Glasslock is he's in between, he looks like a tank, but he's really a caster, that's the bottom line. So, and if that helps draw fire from Bryn, because in a combat situation, I mean, if you see a dwarf wearing a half plate armor, carrying a shield and an axe, the last thing you expect is for him to start shooting magic missiles at you.
Right.
So.
Right.
Or metal.
I love the
right.
idea.
Oh,
Gonna
God.
microwave you alive.
Yeah. So,
That was great. That was so great. Thank you for answering. That was a very interesting origin story.
Yeah.
Because I'd always wondered, that's interesting. Like, was it an intentional choice, or did you just not want to try Eldritch Knight? Oh, that's why, because that's even better.
Yeah. It's just strictly, he was a joke character. I happened to roll 2 18s, or high enough to where with the stat bonuses I could have 2 18s. So I stuck one in charisma and I stuck one in strength. So
Nice. Nice.
So he's a very, very charismatic dwarf, but he's just very gruff. Yeah.
I love it. Yeah, I love it.
Jeff, not in season 2, or maybe in season 2. What do you hope for Avero's future?
Okay, so I don't know if I can answer that question because I kind of know.
What do you hope for Avero's past?
Yeah, I don't know if I can answer that question.
Right, that's okay.
Because I know up to a certain. Basically, I know what happens.
Secret redacted.
I know what happens between now and when I come back.
Yes.
Then never mind.
So I can't really.
But after
I come back, I'm very excited.
Let's say the hope, because you don't know when
Mm-hmm.
you come back together. What is the hope at that time? Because
at that point, I'm excited because I'm jonesing to play this character because I really like playing this character.
I love him.
He's really fun.
Oh, yeah.
So that will be great. I feel like Anson Mount promoting the next season of Strange New Worlds, because like this year at Comic-Con, anytime anyone asks him, he's like, I can't tell you anything.
Yeah.
They really get mad when we tell you stuff.
Yeah.
So I'm just not going to say anything. So that's how I feel like at this moment. I'm just let me just say how excited I am for you for what is coming.
Oh yeah. Speaking of, we have packages to open.
And I'm sorry. What packages?
Yes. Fun fact. Jay alerted us earlier in the week that keep an eye on your mail, Carrie and Jim, because you have packages coming. That's Jim's. It's an envelope. This is mine. It costs $16.10 to ship, and I don't know what's in it. We're not going to open it all the way, but apparently we can at least take it out of the box tonight, which we'll do in a little bit. Stick around here at Emporium for the Wayward Gamer.
I just real quick. So we were talking about MVP moments and stuff. I honestly think that Jeff is just flat out the MVP for this whole first season. For one reason and one reason only. For
I know what you're going to say.
Totally buying into the bit of being the pacifist. And
commitment.
To the point of hitting level 5 and picking probably the most useless level 3 spell ever. I mean, but it was so.
You don't get to stay in the hotel.
It was so Avero that by principle, Glassstock would not go into it. I mean, Jeff has totally committed to the bit, and that alone makes him the MVP.
He wouldn't even take a wand of magic missiles.
I second that.
Right.
No. He didn't even take a wand of magic missiles that I gave him.
Yeah.
And he didn't buy anything fancy and magical. He got his fucking hat.
Yeah, I don't even remember what it does, but it
allows me to make an attempt on any cantrip.
Oh, okay.
And
I don't have to know the cantrip. I can make an attempt. I might not be able to do it, but I can make the attempt.
Okay.
Yeah. Well, I disagree that I get it
more.
hands down. I think you guys are equally as great at all of your character moments. I just want you to know that.
That was another classic Avero moment, that out in the middle of the woods, Jeff was just so excited because he gets to whip out this new spell. and he creates whatever it's called, the
A tower.
yeah, you know,
Two-story tower.
a two-story
Oh my
tower with a
God.
fire and a bed and the whole bit, and
Doesn't
he's
have to
just
sleep
like
outside
doesn't
anymore.
have to, no more tent, no more
setting up the tent.
you know, and it lasts for what, 24 hours or whatever.
And I
it
think
is.
he cast the spell after we had set up camp.
Yeah.
Like just as we finished
Right.
setting up, as I and Glassdock finished setting up the tents.
Right.
He's like, "Oh, I remember."
Yeah.
Amazing.
Which is just so perfect.
Incredible.
Yeah.
One thing you didn't know that happened while you were asleep is that Aviro snuck out and he cached Liamid's tiny hut over Glassdock's tent. And then
Oh,
crept back in.
oh, such a bub. I love him. Back to our hopes and dreams for the future.
Oh, yeah,
but,
I'm allowed to say stuff because I don't know too many spoilers.
Yes, Carrie, what is Bryn's hopes and dreams?
Well, Bryn, I mean, we're gonna have to figure out like what's going on
There's
first.
a lot
Like
to
that's
unpack.
objective number one. Figure stuff out. Bryn is kind of feeling like with all the stuff with the Harpers and with Tib showing up and just all of it sort of feels like she's off balance almost, like more than she's been in many years. And with Aviro being gone and Glassdock, like, she's starting to confide in Glassdock a little bit, but now Rocky's gone and kidnapped, and we know all the stuff like about the nobleman and maybe Rocky was there. Like, just it's all like she's supremely off balanced. And so I think that she's going to have to wrestle with that coming up. And that's about it right now.
Good answer. Good
That was
answer.
a very
Thanks,
good answer.
thanks.
Yes,
Good
yes.
answer.
It's time to play the feud.
I like that. The two questions that are running through my brain right now, picking back off of that. Like I said, season 2, you're gonna be, trying to figure this stuff out.
Mm-hmm.
The end credit scenes.
Oh yeah,
I mean, are they hitting the mark? And
love them.
and then the fact that the realization that season, that last one, did it like as you said, the innkeeper knows more than we figuring it out.
Mm-hmm.
And
Totally.
When did you like, Jeff, you said you went back and watched episode 1. Do you remember the blue book and how that interaction went?
Mm-hmm.
And did it make was it just like
Oh
big,
yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah. It's when you go back and you watch Twin Peaks or one of those shows where you're just like, oh, or second time you watch Sixth Sense.
Mhm.
It's one of those moments.
I wasn't quite as much of a good boy as Jeff, but I was going back through old episodes trying to find a certain moment that I was curious about. And so I found myself watching a good portion of a lot of the VODs, and same thing. Like I was like, oh my God, like all of it. It was even just like little details about like who's who and like places we went and things we saw on the way to places. Like Jay mentioned, I didn't even remember. Oh, it was a location that we didn't end up exploring at the time, but like 10 sessions later ended up being pretty pivotal. And I'm like, but he dropped that in like session 2 or 3. And I'm like, that's cool. That's really cool.
Yeah.
Nice.
There was a few. And there was one episode where I did the owner and the bartender were talking and looking at you going, so much, really?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and it's just like, just uncanny. And you realize now the potential that was the statue in the basement.
That's why that son of a bitch is so willing to go buy us as much goddamn fish as we want.
Because he's like, it's them. They're celebrities. It's like if freaking LeBron walked into your business.
But they
It's like-
want how much meat?
And there is one
that's fine.
other reason
them.
too that it makes it look like them as well. And I've shared it with you in an episode. I'm cautious on sharing it to see if you could figure it out. But there is one.
Make us figure it out. Make us figure it out.
There's one
Yeah.
other thing that I've dropped in like episode 3 or 4 that set all of the future stuff was already set. That I even described to you, and you were just you got it, and then just went, and you just kept on going a different direction.
Oh,
So
wow.
yeah, and that's one of the reasons why too of the conversation. It's them. It looks so much like them, and
Mm.
it's like, is it them? And then it's like, and there's that unknown, and the blue book,
Well,
So
the blue book was significant,
so significant,
phenomenal.
and it's old. That blue book is old. So
And how did the blue book came about sort of by accident almost, didn't it? Like there were books behind the bar and like we were just shooting the bull and like wasting time, right?
Mm-hmm.
So the blue book, the books behind the shelf was taking like the history of the Saltmarsh legends from MTD and putting them and tying in stuff here.
Okay.
And that's where some of that stuff. So there was actually a journal from one of the players that was there in here. One of the other books was, I want to say there was a connection between Glassstock, but I don't recall specifically what one of those books. And then
What was one of them, a bartender's book?
yeah, I think there was there might have been a bartender's book or something like that. But then he went down and got the blue book out and was looking at information to confirm to see who you were, because he was like, all right, where are you from? And you were saying this, and he would go and check mark like, okay, you're from here. So last name. Okay. And he was going through a checklist in the book to verify that you were a Vero Starborn and that you were the individual based off the book.
Mm-hmm.
And then the book had more instructions and things and more informations and more or less checkpoints of things happening in the future.
And that's why he didn't like sell us out to the guards and sell us it, because he had that. Oh my God. It wasn't just out of the goodness of his heart. Like there's a deeper, oh my God.
It's in the book. Like the spoiler is when the city guard come looking for you, the way I look at it is it's in the book as a checkpoint. Now here's the catch.
The player's guide.
It's a player's guide. It's a check. There's a chance that doesn't get put in the book because of whatever you do now in season 2.
Right.
My God, Jim, we have agency.
Yeah.
Oh no. This is a problem.
Don't do anything our characters normally wouldn't do.
Yeah, right. Do what you would normally do and don't think about it too much.
But
Right.
there's a lot of things that. So one of the things that I forgot to mention in the stream, but it was mentioned in the after. So I want to recap that one of the things, and this was a key moment that for Bryn. So when they went into the future and they were sitting, it was raining, the city of 50 years in the future, the city of Saltmarsh was being destroyed. It was a large black dragon was coming out and destroying, and this 50-year-old man comes out, human, wearing a Harper's pin. He was carrying a box, and the thing I forgot to mention was that he was carrying a journal. It looked old and ragged and timed and slightly burnt. And Bryn would have noticed the patch, the box, but she would have also noticed the journal as her journal that she's been journaling in for the last few episodes.
Is that why she wanted pen and ink from the girl?
Is. And side note, in real life, there's a journal that only Jay and I have seen, and Carrie has fallen woefully behind on because Carrie's been busy. But it really exists, and it's about like it's in Bryn's voice, and it's chronicling all our adventures and what exactly she thinks of Vero and Glassdock and everything.
And I haven't talked to Carrie about this, but one of these days,
give me a minute to catch up on it, and then
when
they
it's
can
all
see it.
done, turning it into having you
Hell yeah,
podcasting, like
hell yeah,
100%.
like and
oh my
voice.
God, yes,
I'd be happy to.
And then,
that's what I do,
and that's what we'll be definitely we'll be looking at. But it was one of those moments that's why the additional realization that, oh, wait a second, because Bryn has specific instructions as well that was put in her backstory episode that I think we can spoil because it was there, is that she was told when she was told by the Harpers to write a journal of all of her experiences, and at a certain time she's supposed to send the journal to the Harpers when she sees the sign. She hasn't seen the sign yet, but when she sees the sign, she has to send it. And if it's
cue Ace of Base. Sorry.
Yeah. So
I saw the sign.
Here's the interesting.
It opened up my
dilemma.
eyes.
100 years in the past, a journal shows up with the Harpers' heads that talk about Bryn, who hasn't even been born yet.
There's a lot of moving parts.
And
time is hard.
Time is hard.
And how they might have known that a 50-year-old Harper shows up exactly that's been waiting for a long time because he doesn't know when. You know, it's one of those like.
Why is this Harper so invested in the three of them?
Yeah.
Good question.
Why is it there? Why did he get chosen to be there? How he became a Harper? Why did the Harpers know that they were going to be there?
Who knows?
There's a journal.
Truly anybody's
It could be literally anything.
It could be literally anything.
The joy.
Glorious.
Any other comments, thoughts, questions? I had one more, but I can't remember right now. Chat, if you got a question, please share. Ask your questions about the characters, the campaign, where we can go, what spoilers you want.
Jeff has a question.
Yes.
I got a thing. It's not really a question. I guess it's a talking point for the group. I will say that I am excited to see where all these characters go as they grow and how they develop, and I am excited that there has been growth from the beginning.
Mm-hmm.
Like I can't say about what's going to happen, but because I know about what I know, I'm excited to see how that goes. But I will, again, I think the thing that for me is super interesting about this game is that the characters are constantly evolving as they get to know each other. And
yes.
And the telling of the story of all of these people throughout all this insanity. I really enjoy that about this game. And I think it does all of you an excellent credit that together this narrative is meshing really, really well.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that's really cool.
Yeah. Right back at you, man.
Yep, agreed. And for everyone. So the one thing actually brings up is Vero has a little bit of a season 2 arc that we're. Bryn has a season 2 and long game arc that we're kind of playing. Glassdock, you don't have one yet.
Perfect. Let's keep it that way.
Jim, grumpy old man. You got to have some plan. Or not.
You know what's amazing is that he's the guy that in the party that holds the rudder for wherever we're going.
He is. He is true north. Always.
Second question. Out of the post-credit scenes, because the post-credit scenes are for the audience and you as a player. So it's not so much that you know as a character,
right.
But it's just to kind of reveal the veil behind it all.
Mm-hmm.
What were some of the ones that were just like, Jay, what are you, because there was just enough. I'm curious on your reaction with the dragon in the cave with Glassdock's uncle.
Glassstock's uncle. Yeah.
and Tib.
Yeah.
As players.
Remind me how Tib was involved. That was I need like a quick recap.
So
I need a
basically,
rewind.
The post credit scene was that a dragon came out
I
of the
remember.
water
Yeah.
and was breathing and was sitting there having a conversation with Glassstock's uncle, who's sitting there as if he was a prisoner, but he's just sitting there not shackled. But it's one of those things like, there's a dragon in front of me. I'm gonna have a conversation. I'm not gonna run anywhere. Okay,
Mhm.
And
Right.
then he turns over, and then walking out of the shadow is Tib.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
it's kind of like,
You go
Is he-
first, Jim. I have my ideas.
Well, I mean, as far as Glassstock goes, he knows that his uncle has some sort of, I don't want to use the term alliance, but some sort of partnership with the dragon, since he quote unquote saved him from those caves.
mm-hmm.
So that's something that's been sitting in the back of my mind for a while, and I'm not. I have a feeling. This is me playing. Jim the GM trying to think like Jay at this point. At some point, there's going to be some sort of confrontation with my uncle about the dragons. Whether it's we need to work with them or we need to get rid of them. And at that stage, if we don't have Rocky, it may be, that, I mean, is Rocky the next big bad evil dragon? I mean, is the intent that he is supposed to become, what the existing one can't become, or something like that? So,
no, it's not. You're wrong. Incorrect.
So is it like, it's the whole, Sith thing, there's always one master and one apprentice. Yeah. So is Rocky, the chosen one and is supposed to be
destiny.
Right. So, but to do that, we have to eliminate the master first, which
His dad.
is,
Dragon Daddy.
So, Dragon Daddy.
Hashtag Dragon Daddy.
Hashtag Dragon Daddy. Yeah.
Their brand.
10% off at Talon and Claw. Gotta let Anthony know I'm pitching product.
Hard.
There you go.
Yeah. Speaking of which, after we get off, I'll have to tell you guys about Ren Fair.
Awesome.
But I Glassstock, because like I've already said, Glassstock is very wary of Rocky, as to him he's a tool. Like Glassstock, like if Rocky had to die to save Vero or Bryn, Glassstock wouldn't think twice about offing Rocky.
Oh.
But is Rocky a key to something much bigger at this point, which obviously he is, based on what the Paladin told us at the very beginning. So,
and the key is for you too. That's right. Part of that process of, and I, as a GM, the way I don't have a plan on. Let me phrase that.
Oh, that makes us feel so much better, Jay.
Let me rephrase that.
Terrifying.
My plan is it can go either way.
Right.
So you can either Rocky can go be the savior, or Rocky could be the
bottom
Gozer.
line. Yeah, the bottom line in Glassstock's thinking, though, is Rocky's a black dragon. Black dragons are evil.
Mm-hmm.
I mean,
not this one.
You did give him a love. Did say you gave him
we did give him love.
I rolled a 20.
He rolled a 20. He said, "I love you."
Yeah. So I mean, is there the chance? Yes. There is, but
But that could
How much-
easily be twisted if he thinks we freaking ditched him too.
Exactly.
or
Yeah,
something
which
else. Yeah,
yeah.
there's a lot of different, and that's the story I want to eventually. That's a potential story plot or arc that, when you like saving Rocky, that's part of the process is saving Rocky. What do you do? How are you going to do it? And then, things of that nature. And then is there a confrontation or not? And
Well,
then
it's-
how does that all play? And it's going to based on everything that leads up to it. So
Yeah.
based on all the decisions that leads up to it, it's going to influence how. Like for example, when I roll that natural 20, if I roll a natural 20, I will roll it each day. If I roll a natural 20, he will say that. That is a key point. I will tell you right now. That is a
Mhm.
key point for which way he sways.
Right.
Because that was a milestone that it hit him. And that's why things go. Now again, love and hate are just a thin line based off of events. So
Yeah. Going
And I think
back.
Tibbs there because he's a shit.
Yeah.
I think he's a shifty dude.
or he's been manipulated too.
It could be. Well, I think he's for like Tib, as I imagine him, doesn't have a super like strict moral compass.
Mhm.
Like he was with the Harpers, but then and the Harpers are involved in their share of like sneaky stuff, just mostly for the greater good, but he's not a Harper anymore either. So it's like, I think that he could go where the power or the money is, and like I think
He got
still has
hired. He
feelings.
got hired to take us out
Jump
and
us.
then
Say what you're
make
gonna
us look.
say.
Yeah.
And as soon as he saw I was there, he stopped. So I think that he still has feelings for Bryn, which could
Well-
be significant. But
obviously.
shut up in advance, Jim. Who wouldn't?
Which-
But
Which I would like as a GM to thank Carrie as a player that we did. I think we did an excellent
No, that was handled
job
extremely well.
of handling mature adult
oh
content
yes,
very well, and the Fade to Black
perfect.
was perfect. I
it was
wanna
like
say-
it was like you would
Yeah.
see on like a PG-13 movie.
Mhm.
Like it was
Yeah.
perfect.
So thank you so much for working with
Thank
me
you.
and being collaborative on that because I think it worked out just beautifully.
Mhm. Absolutely.
MVPs, mark them down, MVPs
Right.
for both of you.
It's gonna be
You each get-
Jeff.
you each get
You have 3 nominations. I think just numbers wise, you got us. Deservedly so.
mark them down.
Another question is what did you think of the idea of creating a separate backstory episode? And that did you once we created that, like almost immediately using that backstory in and bringing it coming forth? How was that for you as a player, and or like how did that?
I feel both rewarded and manipulated at the same time.
Yeah. I loved it. It's like I'm a child of HBO. So it's like when you're getting ready to watch a new episode and it's like last time on and it's like all the significant moments. And then you go into the episode where those things come back. So like I think that worked really, really well. And it again, I think and we joke, but I think making our characters, the more vulnerable we make them, the more real we make them, first of all, and then the more relatable and fun to play we make them. So I think that those backstory pieces are very important. I've always kind of thought that. That's why I write a embarrassingly long backstory. Gary gives me shit about it all the time. But it's like I think that those are important, and it at least helps me get in the headspace too.
I love it that you do that. I think it's so awesome that you now know
Thanks.
your characters so well. You've thought a lot about your character. I think that's
Thank you.
awesome. And I think it allows you to, it is one of your strengths in your improvisation, in that you know this character so well, you know how she will behave in whatever is thrown at her. I think that's awesome. And I
Thanks.
applaud you for it.
I'll clip that and share it with Gary. Thank you very much. I appreciate that. Thanks, man.
You're welcome.
Yeah, this has been just such a fun campaign. You guys are very talented. I feel lucky
agreed.
to be here.
Agreed.
So then, Jim, what your thought? I mean, did it work for you well with that process and being able to to dive into Glassstock's backstory a little bit, and then bringing out some of those elements? And is there any other elements you were hoping to bring out?
No, I see. I'm kind of like the exact opposite to Carrie when it comes to character backstories. To me, the character evolves over time. So, like, I'll bring pieces out that make sense for the moment. If that, like, I have a general idea of what the backstory is, but I don't like writing it down and making it hard fact until there's a reason to, if that makes sense. You know,
I like
so like, you know, with, you know, like the way when Jay and I were talking about Glassstock's story, it was like, it's the whole Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer thing, you know. You know, dad didn't want, you know, wanted him to go off and play dwarf games and not be, you know, blah, 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 and this and that and stuff, but it still managed to get out. And because of that, you know, he felt bad that he was disrespecting his family and doing what he, you know, what his father didn't want him to do. So he left, you know, because he's a dwarf and they tend to be noble and lawful and, you know, but, you know, that's kind of the way that I've always played characters. It's just,
I wonder if that's kind of a confidence thing too. I've talked about this a little bit before. I think the part of the reason that I do so much in advance is like that I have this need to feel like prepared to play. Because like when I'm going into a game like this, when I feel like the guys I'm going to be playing with are so prepared and you know the game and like all that stuff, I feel the need to like come in loaded for bear. You know what I mean? And so now it's just a habit. I'm pretty confident, but it's like it's I think it's, at least for me, it's a lack of confidence that pushes me to do so much front end work on it.
May I offer an alternate explanation as to why that might be for you?
Sure.
Perhaps you just have a commitment to excellence.
We'll go with that. Thanks,
I mean, seriously though, at least I see you as a player seem to have a high level of excellence that you ascribe to in just kind of things, your audio recordings and your gaming, and like I really do. I think that the fact that you put time into it is indicative that you want it to be of the highest quality that you were able.
Yeah. Like anything worth doing is worth doing right.
Yeah.
Not that there's anything wrong with going in blind. I think that's another play style, and I could totally like see that argument.
Right.
Like that's you want the freedom. And I think the what's her name? The girl with different colored hair every time she play Ginny D. She's a big D&D streamer, and she does all kinds of stuff. Anyway, she puts like together like tips and tricks videos for like GMing and all that stuff. She did a whole video on whether to this exact conversation, whether to prepare ahead of time, or she says she is now like preferring to go in with almost no backstory and let specifically she talked about like the tragedy, like most D&D characters like go in with a tragedy in their past. She says, what if the tragedy happened during the game? And I said that, that's an interesting concept that is so simple, but not one we think about very often. At least I didn't.
Yeah. I don't think there's a wrong way.
Agreed.
Yeah. I don't think there's a wrong way. No. I think both ways are equally valid. What one do you enjoy? I think figure out what works for you. And like, I love the fact that Jim comes in with that openness to say, let's see what happens. I got an idea. This will be fun.
Well,
let's go with it.
Yeah, I mean, I know you've talked about this, Jeff. Like, so you've used this character or a semblance of this character before in another campaign.
Yes, I got 2 sessions with this character,
right?
And
then so you had already, I don't want to say fleshed out the character, but you had I had a pretty good idea. Pretty good idea on how to run them and stuff. And it's not that I'm not going in totally blind with what I want the character to be. I have a rough idea, and and part of that is the GM in me. Like I treat my characters like I treat NPCs in my world. Like they have a basic structure as to like what their kind of personality is, how they're going to interact with the characters,
Mhm.
things like that. But then when they start, when and if they start building a relationship with the character, then all of the other pieces start to
Okay.
fall into place.
Hmm.
So, when we started playing and our characters' personalities were coming out, I just didn't want to be, the gruff, the gruff dwarf, blah, blah,
The
blah,
dwarf, right.
stuff like that.
Glasscock street cloak.
Yes.
That guy, not that guy.
Yeah, exactly. That's Jay's
Amazing.
MVP moment.
Yeah.
Wow.
A classic.
But it's all of a sudden he's like, Aviros is annoying. Then I started picturing how this character would view your characters as their personalities were coming out. So, Aviro is the annoying little brother.
Mm.
Bryn is a like an equal on the battlefield kind of thing. Like I know push comes to shove, if the shit hits the fan, I know I can rely on Bryn, to handle certain circumstances, stuff like that. So, and then to me, it's the character's personality just generates more
From those
naturally.
things.
Yeah.
Sure.
So if we did another backstory, what would you be, or what could it be if we were going to do another like a backstory episode or something like, or
Oh, that's a
dream?
good question.
What, like, where would you want it to get in? Because we've done a basic. I mean, there's so much more in the backstory, but like, where would you want to be? Like right before you met, like what you were doing in one island before you went to the
I mean
Adventurers Guild?
that would be like, so like in Glassstock's case, he was just wandering around, hiring himself out as a
Right. Like a
bodyguard.
mercenary.
Yeah,
That would be a cool little mini series. Like, just doing a separate, getting different
The
people
Adventures
together.
of Glassstock.
Adventures of Glass, but
It's like Boba Fett.
you get 3 other players together for like a 3-shot, and then doing that, and then Bryn, you're depending on what you're doing, getting 3 different people together or 2 other people together.
You could do a lot with Bryn too.
Getting drafted into the Harpers, doing
or before the Harpers, or right at the
Right.
end of the Harpers. Like there's a lot.
Yeah.
A Vero, I think.
Vero going to class. Who wants to play school?
Hero going to the dining hall because
Well,
it's
the
pancake day.
The mishaps that a Vero has.
The Vero in
Oh,
high
yeah.
school.
Yeah.
A Vero getting picked on by his sister.
Actually,
Like what was the stupid high school show?
Saved by the Bell?
Riverdale.
No, the older one.
Saved by the Bell?
Saved by the Bell. Yeah.
Saved by the Bell.
How dare you? That is my heritage.
Yeah. Well,
Stupid show.
I didn't say stupid.
You did.
Yeah.
So-
But actually,
It's fine.
a Vero like finding his way, like literally
Yes.
the first like who does he run into in like the town? And
like he's gonna have some bully that's been picking on him, and
You guys stop.
and it's like, who did someone take a Vero under his wing when he first got out in the world?
right. Oh, it's like
He
real.
just first out.
Simon,
He's
dude.
just now it was these two who took him under their wing
But
when he first got out in the
where
world.
you are, you had to. There was some adventure.
You're capable enough.
Yeah, while he was at school.
It's like that old Val Kilmer movie, Real Genius.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yes.
Oh yeah.
Amazing.
Definitely. So yeah, there's some, it might be things I'm working in the background on.
I would love to do that. That would be great.
Yeah, it would be when, like I said, it would be one of those situations if it something and.
Well, and that way you could even get Jeff involved because the day is not as strict.
Yeah.
Right.
While he's on his
Right.
educational hiatus.
Right.
Yes.
I got availability other days of the week.
Oh
Right?
yeah. And
Mhm.
I have an idea too, Jeff, that we'll need to talk about some.
Okay.
So,
Okay.
yeah, this kind
Sounds
of
good.
prompted another idea.
I am very excited for what is to come.
Yeah.
Like I am
Oh,
I am
packages.
so
Were
excited
you
to
gonna open the packages?
Oh yeah.
Yes.
What's
All
in
right.
the packages?
Jeez.
Should we all do it at the same time or one of us first?
Well, yeah, let's just go ahead.
Size doesn't matter.
Okay.
That's what she said.
I'll let you have that one, Jim. Okay. So there is another envelope in here. Oh. It says, Bryn, open only when asked to by Jay on stream. So this is the part I can't open.
Do not open that one. Yes.
There is a letter.
I get a
Oh.
pink envelope.
Oh, I know why you got a pink envelope, I'll bet. Oh my God. Okay, let's see. Can we read the letter?
Sure.
Okay,
Only open when
I'll do
asked
it.
to by Jay on stream. Okay.
Okay, dear Carrie and Jim. I assume Jim has the same one.
Yes.
Or should I say, hello, Bryn and Glassstock of the natural ones. Inside, there will be a large envelope with writing on it that says, do not open until Jay says so. The contents of what is inside is for our streamed game of Saltmarsh Legends. Please keep this in a safe and secured location. When we start up again in September with Saltmarsh Legends, you will need these large envelopes at your side for each episode. At certain points in the show, I will instruct you to open the large envelope and then some of the items inside. Once you open the large envelope, you will find some smaller items inside numbered by groups. Group number 1, group number 2, number 3, etc., all the way to group number 9. Bryn, you have the even numbered groups. Glassstock has the odd numbered groups. Please note that.
So that means I have 5 and you only have 4.
Please note that group number 3 has 3 parts. Oh, wait a minute. You have the odd ones.
Yep.
Well, it's okay. 1 of 3, 2 of 3, 3 of 3. You will need to open group 1 of 3 first, and then
That
2
might
of
be
3.
a typo.
We'll figure out
sure,
what happens.
Are you sure it says odd? Bryn, you're even?
Bryn, you have even numbered groups. Glassstock has odd numbered groups.
That is a typo. That is a typo.
Carrie wins again.
That is a
Okay.
typo. Bryn, you have odd. Jim, you have even.
Glassstock's just going to go home at this point. He doesn't want to play anymore.
Schadenfreude, how sweet. Please note that group number 3, which Bryn, of course, has 3 parts. 1 of 3, 2 of 3, and 3 of 3. You will need to open group 1 of 3 first, etc. When I, the GM, ask you to open one of the items, please only open the group number I ask you to. Once you open the first group, it will be clear what all the items are and why they are listed by group numbers. I can only say this is a fun in-game treat for you all. Thank you for playing along. See you on stream, Jay. That is exciting. I am pumped. This is going to be such a test of character. I'm going to put this up on a high shelf, out of sight, out of mind.
Till we start again.
Of course.
Which, tentatively, we are looking at September 21st, the 3rd Wednesday of September. So roughly a month from now, we will be streaming episode 1, season 2. And all of our new guests will be playing. Again, we're going to double check to make sure all the scheduling is, but that is tentatively when we are going to be beginning. We will be joined by our guest players. And
I'm so excited to watch the VODs.
Yeah, and then literally what I will give you is that Bryn and Glassstock, we're gonna pick up like when you wake up in the rain on this. You've just looked at the town and realized something's
We
not
saw
right.
it burning. Oh my God.
And now you are in the town where it's fine. The bridge is just getting completed. The temples aren't there. There's less things. And
There's no
literally-
library.
Yeah, there's no library, and you're just gonna be like not understanding, and you are and for the levity, you will be meeting the new players relatively early in this process.
Of course, because you're starting
Awesome.
it at a
And
tavern.
you're starting it at a
That's
tavern.
where you meet all the interesting people and get your quest.
Yep.
Yep.
Duh.
Wow.
Amazing.
I love it.
Oh yeah.
Wow,
This
wow,
is gonna
wow.
be good.
This is
Chat,
impressive.
Any questions? Any other questions you have? Any other?
Yeah, I want to know if anyone else in chat has a favorite moment.
Yeah. Please.
Freaking Bill freaking Roper did. He had two. He had enough for
He had
several
two?
people. Yeah. One of his favorites was the moment when after jumping to the thing with the 50-year-old and Bryn.
Oh yeah.
The other one was the first fight with a Vero, where we realized this wizard has no offensive spells, and the group's reaction to finding that out.
And Jim and I have talked with Bill multiple times on this, and Bill talked to me, and we've agreed that Bill is a fan of Jeff's, with the fact that you have committed to this role.
Seriously.
Bill
He's committed to the bit.
He's committed to. He is such a fan and loves
Commit
the way
to
you
the bit.
play a Vero.
Oh well, thanks, Bill.
He's actually,
Thanks so much.
so just so you know, Jeff, he is actually online on Twitter said, if you want to learn how to play a pacifist wizard, you need to watch this stream. And
That's a
watch
quote.
Jeff.
He tweeted, yeah, it was a
He-
full
Wow.
tweet.
Well,
Yeah,
thanks.
that it is possible to play a total pacifist in a combat game.
Yeah, and
To wonderful effect.
Yeah.
Wonderfully ridiculous.
Yes.
Comedic and yet very sensitive and heartfelt.
Effect.
Amazing.
Heavy on the RP.
Yes.
So the items, Avero, your short sword that Glassstock gave you.
Mhm.
So the same question that will apply, and then the rapier that Bryn has that literally sliced someone with a nat 20 and 61 points of damage, which is to
God.
the record right now of how many max damage.
You should add that to the spreadsheet.
I'm considering that.
MVP.
Okay.
MVP. Biggest damage.
the damage MVP.
point.
And then with Glassstock's axe,
Mm.
what? Now that you're gaining levels and you potentially in the future be gaining, what are you looking for? Anything specifically magical to happen with those items?
Oh.
All of the items, all of ours.
Each
of us?
individual. The spoiler is, as you gain levels, those items gain more power.
Oh man.
Yeah. So that goes back to the thing earlier, like I was saying with Glassstock, and when he hits level 6, does he take a level in sorcerer so he gets a 3rd level spell? Because Jeff and Carrie, you guys don't know this. The axe allows me to store 1 spell inside of it, up to
Yeah.
3rd level.
Oh my God, you could break that. So, dude.
So
Dwarven,
right
yeah.
now, the only spell I can store in it is a 2nd level spell, and it even has to be a specific type of spell.
Okay.
So, so right now, and I'm not going to spoil which one I have in there, but it does open up the possibility of at 6th level me being able to cast 2 3rd level spells if I want.
Wow.
That's pretty
So,
awesome.
Yeah.
That is very
That's
powerful.
pretty awesome.
And for those of you
And
that are
just wants to
looking-
hit shit harder.
Yeah. And
Next.
someone in chat might be going, that you're kind of giving them a huge magic item to break the game. But people need to remember there's 3 characters. And
Yeah.
and there is a level that there has been balanced a little bit, and the items are balanced, but again, there's some interesting aspects of it. So that they were
People need to remember that Jay introduced an adult dragon when we were level 1 and get off our case about it. So.
story arc. I still love
If
that
they ever
moment.
think this is skewed like in our favor, whatever. Okay.
I mean, none of you have dropped below
No.
yet.
No.
Not below.
I'm
Not
pretty
below.
sure it'll never happen.
I got to
Pretty
0. I was at 0.
To 0.
But not below.
No. Goodness. If you were
Um,
an orc, you would get to fight on for 1 round.
I'm very excited for season 2.
Mm.
I'm very excited on some of the possibilities. We're going to introduce. There's a possibility, depending on how the story goes, there might be some horror involved. I'm looking at some horror. I'm looking at modifications of some existing published materials. So some of you might be going, "Oh, wait a minute. Oh, I know that." No, you don't. I guarantee you. Anything I introduce, it has been modified. But there is some storylines that I want to explore with the group, and it's an overarching story that kind of comes into. Yes, Carrie.
What kind of horror, Jay? Are we talking psychological horror, physical horror, body horror? What kind of horror?
Hunted horror.
Phenomenal.
There
I'm
will be
pumped.
some maybe psychological horror. There could be some not necessarily body horror, like gross. Again, we're gonna 13 it. There might be only one graphic description that will be tailored to an R rating of gore, but we'll tailor it. It depends if you make your save.
The level of Taylor is highly subjective.
Yeah, exactly. I sent a picture off to everyone
Awesome.
the other day in Discord of all the books, a whole bunch of maps, and me just
Yeah.
working like
His entire coffee table was like full.
Yeah, I was just like marking the stuff, going like, "Oh yeah, okay." And I did this in the original game of combining everything for the city, and like because I was running 2 different games on who would be like who would be still alive, and that stuff is still in play. So all that stuff I did for the other game that affected the city, like the village, now
It's
the
still
town.
out there.
So I had to go from the village to the town, now the town to the city. So there's all
Incredible.
that type of stuff. So the thing to remember, what the group does in the town of Saltmarsh, they have some overlasting effects in the city of Saltmarsh.
Hey, don't build the library out of wood from this one place.
Whatever you do, don't mess with this one forest. It's a terrible idea.
Yeah.
And somebody's going to have to come clean up your mess in 100 years.
But that is actually some of the interesting stuff that I'm looking forward to seeing what Bryn, Vero, and Glassdoor do. Because Vero's got the knowledge.
Right.
Vero has all the knowledge. He studied Saltmarsh.
Mm-hmm.
And what is a Vero going to do with that knowledge? Because, again, you could do a lot of damage in the timeline.
We could mess stuff up. It's the butterfly effect, dude.
Yes,
we can't be messing with the future.
And see, that is one of the things I'm looking forward to seeing, what you do and what you don't do, because of what and that actual moral dilemma of, okay, should we do this or shouldn't we do this? And you do it or not, or what you do will cause some changes or not. And it's completely open. And I'm stating this for the record. Anything is on the table, and we will adjust it accordingly to the city. And eventually the goal is to go back to the future, but it's not required. And if you decide to stay here,
stay there.
You stay there. And we'll run it here. But there's still a whole bunch of stuff later on that, like I said, only so much you can do here. So.
Right. You're awfully trusting of us.
Oh no, I am. But here's the thing: there's always things that can, like I said, there's that's timey-wimey. And you know,
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
there's
and
a
you just gave us the keys.
I did, and I want to see you. It's like giving a first level character a wish spell. What are they gonna do? You know,
Mhm.
Mm-hmm.
now
Right,
it's fifth level
right.
characters with wish spells. Who's a little bit more older, a little bit more wiser, but what are they gonna do?
Seriously,
So
incredible. Wow.
Yep.
yeah. So anybody last chance? Any other questions? Any other group questions? Things of that nature?
Avira wants rings of spell storing.
Well,
Vera
I
wants
want a
me-
cannon. We can't have everything we want.
But I could maybe actually get a ring of spell
You
storing.
could maybe actually get that.
The last thing I will leave you with, and something to think about before. You have Rocky's backpack. You had it on. Glasstalk had it on when you
right.
went in time.
Yep.
Right.
You don't know what has happened to it. If
Inside.
It still functions or
Oh,
that
that's
is going to
true.
be one of those things
Gotta check that out.
that's going to be one of those things of what happens. And then what's going to happen to
If he's
Yeah, I
down
don't give
there
a
and
shit about
starving.
Squirtle.
I give a shit about Squirtle. How could
Yeah. Aw.
we could learn from him? We could free him.
I don't think he
You
wants to be
could
free.
maybe want to rephrase how you learn from him.
If Rocky, yeah, right. We could feed him more sacrifices. No, we could free him because Rocky's gone. He's not afraid of him anymore. We'll have to confer on this.
Yeah.
Private meeting. We'll have to sit down and have a conference. Yeah.
So, and I still haven't
Amazing.
decided yet on how I want to run that. So that's one of those things I'm still developing. And so I'm open to suggestions. So,
It sounds like we're just about to wrap up. Is that correct, Jay? Because so before we quit, because this is now the last time
oh yes.
Oh
for
yeah,
me
yeah,
for
yeah.
quite a while, I wanted to say thank you for this opportunity, Jay. This has been quite possibly my favorite game that I've ever played in of all time so far,
Thank you.
and we're still in it,
Mm.
which is exciting. So thank you, Jay, for the experience. Thank you, Jim and Carrie, for this. I love this game so much. I'm so excited for what Jay and I have cooked up in my absence. And I'm excited to join you again hopefully beginning of next semester. Jay, you're masterful at your overarching plan. Carrie, the depth of your improv is honest to God acting. It is fabulous. Jim, you're keeping us on the road.
Steering the boat.
Driving the bus the whole time is
Somebody has to.
magnificent amongst all the crap that we are throwing at you. Hats off to everybody. I'm very excited to go to school, but I'm also very, very excited to come back.
And like we said, Jim or Jeff, that we were talking earlier that
I mean, Jonah, Jerry.
Jerry,
What? Damn it, I know your
yeah,
name.
it's-
Jeff, George. God. ugh.
you always have a place here. No matter, like I said, this is the group. This is the flagship game for the Emporium for the Wayward Gamer. This was what we are going to be long term. As long as we can, we're going to be playing this game. And
Great.
if someone needs to step away for a short period of time, their seat is always here because the story is always going to be. And I love this group so much that I just want to tell more. You all are, like I said, talented. And Jeff, we are going to miss you for the time being. It is going to be a different element. There's going to be different, but you look forward for you.
Does everybody have a glass in front of them?
Yes.
Everybody have a glass? Everybody have a
do.
glass?
Yes.
Or your glasses? Here's your glasses.
That counts.
That counts. Oh, great! Now I can't see. Well, here's to season 2 and to the new
Yes.
kids coming in.
Yes. The natural ones.
Clink to the natural ones.
Clink.
Cheers. All right. So
You guys are the best.
Cheers, everybody.
thank you, everyone. We got to find someone to raid. I am
Raid.
I am looking at-
Raid.
Fortnerd.com.
Fortnerd.com.
He asked a question earlier.
He did. So
Did he? What was his question?
His question was the very first one of the stream, which was, what was
Yes.
your favorite moment of
Favorite
the
moment.
season?
Yep.
Nice.
Double check it. We'll hit and then Amphitheater 2, but we did those last time, so we are going to hit the foot nerds. Foot
Yep.
nerd.
I think they're hitting up the finales at
Yeah, it's
Dreadful
their
Tales.
Dreadful Tales finale. Yeah. Jake is DMing tonight.
Oh, yeah.
Is that right?
Yeah.
I'll be damned. Well, good for them.
Fortnerd.com. Yep, there they are. All right. Yep, there they are. So we are going to start rating them. We're going to say goodbye. Look for the information that we're going to be sharing when season 2 starts. But again, tentatively is the 21st, but we will double check on, but at least sometime in the end of September, we are going to be coming back. And I am so excited for what we're going to be doing. So thank you everyone for joining us. Thank you for being here. And we look forward to seeing you again. And remember, please be kind. Don't. Have a
Thank you
lovely
for
evening.
watching.
Thank you.
Bye.